She sits in the Hillsborough County Courthouse laughing like she's in the middle of a comedy special, not waiting for a jury to decide if she spends decades behind bars. She had convinced herself she'd walk free. She was just a girlfriend who had no idea her boyfriend was planning a murder. She was along for the ride, just unfortunate enough to be caught up in something she never wanted. For a while, the defense seemed to make sense. The jury was considering it, but then the prosecution laid out the evidence, and everything changed.
Hands up and walk toward me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Stop. Turn around. Keep your hands up. Turn around. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Now turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
What you're about to see is the moment Alicia Andrews realized her story couldn't compete with what the evidence revealed. A man had been murdered in cold blood, and the proof of what really happened came from digital evidence and surveillance that captured movements nobody expected to be traced. This is a case that started as a celebration and ended in tragedy, and every detail you're about to see has been verified through court records, police body camera footage, and trial testimony.
Yes, indeed it has. Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. As you just heard, this is Alicia. This is the Foolio case, where all of these individuals were just convicted on May 8th, I believe that it was. And she laughs in court, thinks that she deleted all of the text messages, thinks that she got away with it. Nevertheless, some people still believe that she got away easy in comparison to her co-defendants. The trial has just concluded, but here, again, inside of the courtroom, she's making a mockery of the proceedings. She thinks that she has gotten away because she did not pull the trigger. Rest in peace to Foolio. Check this out.
If you've never heard this story before, prepare yourself, because what happened in Tampa in the pre-dawn hours of June 23rd, 2024, will show you how ordinary social media and deleted messages can unravel even the most carefully constructed alibi. To understand why Alicia is in that courtroom...
Social media and deleted messages. Social media, because social media has gotten many people in trouble in recent years in particular. They're inside of a criminal courtroom, having received a criminal court case. These individuals go inside of the criminal courtroom and the prosecutor uses their Instagram posts, TikTok posts, etc. against them, rap lyrics, etc. against them, statements that they made during interviews on podcasts against them. They're watching these social media accounts are the feds, the police, and they're also watching podcasts. She apparently made posts thinking she got away with things, thinking everything is sweet, laughing inside of the courtroom, even though a young man, 26 years old, Foolio, lost his life. She is about to suffer the consequences.
You have to understand the man at the center of it all, Foolio. Charles Andrew Jones II was born on June 21st, 1998 in Jacksonville, Florida. He grew up in the Moncrief neighborhood, tough streets, the kind that leave marks. He was 13 years old when his father was shot and killed in Jacksonville in 2011. That loss changed him. He turned to music, drill rap, a raw, unfiltered genre that celebrates gang life and mocks death. His lyrics were raw. He rapped about the streets he lived in and the violence he'd seen. He performed under the name Foolio. By 2024, he had 1.7 million monthly listeners on Spotify. Albums out, a real following, a name that meant something in Jacksonville's rap scene. But Foolio was more than a rapper. He was also a documented gang member, a member of the 6-block set of a crew called KTA, Kill Them All, and he was at the center of one of Jacksonville's deadliest gang wars. In 2017, his 18-year-old cousin Zion Malik Brown was killed. That murder is believed to have sparked a feud between 6-block and rival gangs ATK and 1200 that would claim numerous lives over the following years.
You know, you from a gang named KTA, Kill Them All, chances are the gang is rather destructive because a gang with a name like this wants to live up to that name. I do remember these individuals had a back and forth going. They had a serious beef going. And as we just heard, Foolio's cousin was killed. This is really what set everything in motion for Foolio eventually losing his life. I do recall Foolio making rap songs and lyrics and perhaps going to the deceased grave and desecrating the grave, etc. And a lot of these individuals do this that are in the rap industry, hip hop culture, where a so-called op loses his life via bloodshed, and his opposition then gets on a record and disses him, if you will, disrespects him, says something to the effect that they are happy that this individual is dead and has lost his life. And then those individuals who end up making these sort of records end up losing their life because the individuals who they're talking about, their family and loved ones, want retribution.
A TK stood for Ace's Top Killers. The name came from rapper Youngeen Ace, the most prominent figure in the rival camp. In 2018, Youngeen Ace and 3 others were targeted in a drive-by shooting. Ace survived. His brother and 2 friends did not. After those deaths, Foolio made a decision that many people believe sealed his fate. He posted mocking content about the victims on social media. Someone saw those posts. Someone connected to the people who had just lost family. And that person decided to do something about it. Foolio had survived previous attempts on his life. In July 2023, he was wounded in Houston. In October 2023, he was targeted again in Jacksonville. Each time, he walked away. But on June 23, 2024, his luck ran out. And the reason investigators were able to piece together exactly what happened that night came down to one woman's phone. A woman who was sitting right next to the killer the entire time. It was early Sunday morning when a 911 call came in at around 4:40 a.m. Shots were fired at the Home 2 Suites near the university.
And that's because you can't get away with anything on these cell phones. They are tracking these phones. I saw a post with an individual, a former CIA agent, that said the CIA can get control of your car and make you go off of a cliff and make it seem like an accident. Yes, they have a lot of power. They're certainly watching these phone calls. Even if you delete the messages, you delete what's on your computer, as we all know, they can go back and dig this stuff up and find out exactly what you searched for in the history and exactly whatever text messages or phone calls you may have sent or received. Again, clearly she thinks, Alicia here, that she has gotten away because for one, she did not pull the trigger, and then for two, she has deleted these messages. That's why she's sitting there in the courtroom laughing, thinking everything is funny when an individual here has lost his life. But as we can see, Youngeen Ace lost his brother and another individual there in a shootout or got shot at, and he survived the attack there in the car, but his brother did not. And according to the narrator, Foolio, which I do recall, made songs or posts, what have you, about the dead, about the individuals, Youngeen Ace's brother and the other individual that had lost their life. As I was just alluding to earlier, that's a recipe for disaster because these individuals have loved ones and these individuals get upset at the thought of their loved one being denigrated in such a manner, and they want retribution. They feel like their loved one is not here to carry out the execution of that retribution, and so they take it upon themselves to do so.
Of South Florida, multiple vehicles were hit, people screaming. When Tampa police arrived at 11,606 McKinley Drive, they found a black Dodge Charger in the parking lot. Its windshield shattered, evidence of gunfire everywhere. Charles Andrew Jones II was found deceased inside, 26 years old, multiple fatal gunshot wounds. 3 other victims had been rushed to hospitals. All would survive, but Foolio was gone. Investigators found shell casings from multiple weapons. A Nissan Altima sat about 10 feet from the Charger, its windows destroyed. From the moment they arrived at the scene, investigators knew this was no random shooting. This was planned and coordinated, and they were about to find out that the planning had started days earlier, right on social media. On June 21st, 2024, Foolio turned 26. He posted on Instagram about celebrating in Tampa, a pool party at an Airbnb. He shared his location, posted videos, made it clear where he'd be. Those posts were his undoing. His move.
Yes, those posts were his undoing, and not to blame the victim, but you have to be careful sending out your location. Many people in recent months have lost their lives sending out their location. That rapper girl, what was it, Tan the God, I believe, when they pulled up or her little party or celebration or autograph signing or whatever it was. And other individuals in the gang culture have recently lost their lives. People believe that they had sent out their location. And if you have beef going on back and forth on the internet, you certainly have to be careful with sending out your location. But again, they say that this murder was planned out on social media. No wonder they all were just convicted.
Movements were being monitored by people who wanted him dead. On June 22nd, Foolio arrived in Tampa with friends and his entourage. The party started that night. Music, drinks, friends, a birthday celebration. But police showed up, the Airbnb had exceeded occupancy limits, and Foolio and his group were asked to leave. So they relocated to the Home 2 Suites on McKinley Drive near USF. Foolio posted about the move on Instagram, complained about being kicked out, shared the new location. He had no idea 5 people had traveled from Jacksonville specifically to find him, and they'd been tracking his every post all night. But here's what matters. Investigators were watching too, and they already knew about one woman who'd been following Foolio's account very closely. While Foolio was celebrating, 2 vehicles left Jacksonville heading for Tampa, a silver Chevrolet Cruze and a black Chevrolet Impala. In the Cruze were Alicia Andrews and her boyfriend Isaiah Chance, both 21 years old. Chance was a documented ATK gang member. In the Impala were 18-year-old Sean Gathright, 27-year-old Davian Murphy, and 30-year-old Rashad Murphy. The shooters, armed with pistols and rifles, license plate reader data tracked both vehicles making the drive, no stops, straight from Jacksonville to Tampa. This wasn't a spontaneous trip, this was a coordinated hit. Andrews had booked an Airbnb in Tampa. Isaiah Chance's Cash App showed he paid $361.16 for it on June 22nd at 3:54 in the morning. The plan was simple. Andrews and Chance would track Foolio's movements using her phone and her car. Because she wasn't in a gang, they believed she could move around without being recognized. The shooters would follow in the Impala, and when the moment was right, they'd strike. Foolio had posted on Instagram that he'd be performing at 2 nightclubs on June 22nd. Teaser's Gentlemen's Club and Truth 18 nightclub between 8 p.m. and 3 a.m. Andrews followed Foolio on Instagram.
Premeditated. They're lucky that they did not get the death penalty. Because the one individual, Sean Gathright, was just testifying in the death penalty phase, and his mother and sister testified. He's now 20 years old, but he was the youngest of the group at 18 years old when this transpired in 2024. And he indeed was the gunman, according to him and the government, but he himself has taken accountability that we see pulling the trigger as the car is going by, and he's lighting it up with a AR-15, taking Foolio's life. With all that they did and the fact that it was premeditated, they hunted him down, as we can see, came all the way from Jacksonville or what have you, with guns and pistols and rifles in tow, searching him out for the purposes of deleting him, eventually caught up to him, tracked him down, hunted him down like a dog, and then took him out. Now they're in court crying. She's laughing, but they all eventually began crying when the guilty verdicts came in and they were trying to save their lives with the death penalty phase, which they ultimately did save their lives. They did not get the death penalty, from my understanding.
Despite later claiming she didn't know him, despite saying she had no interest in where he'd be. Surveillance footage from both clubs told a clear story. At Teaser's, the silver Cruze arrived first. Andrews and Chance got out. Chance was seen on camera using a phone, Andrews' phone, making calls.
Detective Ramos, what's happening at this point in the video?
Top right there from the silver Cruze, we see defendant Isaiah Chance exit the driver's side and co-defendant Alicia Andrews exit the front passenger seat, and they are now walking through the parking lot together.
What's going on at this point?
The co-defendant Isaiah Chance is manipulating a cellular device.
The Later on in your investigation, did you determine whose cellular device he was manipulating?
Yes, that of co-defendant Alicia Andrews.
Court documents revealed he was calling Sean Gathright, the shooter in the Impala. Minutes later, the black Impala arrived at Teasers, the same pattern repeated at Truth 18. Cruz arrives first. Chance uses Andrews' phone. Calls Gathright. Impala shows up. Andrews testified at trial that she didn't know who Chance was calling. She claimed she never asked. She said Chance took her phone and she just let him use it. Think about that for a moment. Your boyfriend takes your phone, gets out of the car, makes calls you can't hear, and you don't ask why. You don't wonder what's happening. But here's what Andrews didn't know. Every call...
That's hard to believe, of course, because she was right up on him when he was using the phone. She was walking right there with him as he was talking. Yeah, it's not good. Somehow, again, she didn't come away with as much time as the rest of them. And individuals, some are not happy about that. They tracked this man down, hunting him down. He got kicked out of the one Airbnb. He got kicked out and then posted, sent out his location to the other place that he ended up going to with his, it looked like plenty of people were there with him. Somehow he ended up in the car. And the car got gunned down. Let's see. Rest in peace, bro.
Chance made on her phone was logged. Every location was tracked, and investigators would use that data to prove she wasn't just along for the ride. Her phone pinged at every location that night. Both clubs, the hotel, the parking lot where Foolio died. After tracking Foolio to both nightclubs, the convoy followed him to Home 2 Suites. Surveillance cameras captured what happened next. The Silver Cruise drove past Foolio's parked vehicles twice around 4:30 in the morning, checking the scene, confirming the target. Then it parked on the side of the hotel building and waited. At 4:38 a.m., 3 men stepped out of the black Impala. Sean Gathright, Davian Murphy, Rashad Murphy. They wore masks. They carried weapons. Modified firearms designed for maximum damage, equipped to collect shell casings so they wouldn't leave evidence behind. They moved deliberately across the parking lot in the
That's crazy. I remember, yeah, they said that in court during the trial, that they had the modified weapons meant to destroy. The other individuals inside of the car are lucky that they walked away. Went to the hospital. They all were shot. 4 individuals in the car. Julio Foolio, 3 other individuals. Julio Foolio, of course, lost his life. The only one in the car out of the 4 that lost his life. Nevertheless, the other 3 were shot and still are blessed, lucky to be alive. Obviously, clearly, the target was Julio Foolio, so most of the damage and bullets were concentrated and targeted at him. But everyone in there was shot. They was just lighting the car up as it was passing by. So, as we just seen, they were casing the joint, driving around the car that Julio Foolio had been parked in. They checked everything out, parked somewhere, got out of the car, 3 individuals, Sean Gathright being accused of being one of them, well, again, admitted to being one. In fact, that's him right there. He's the one pulling the trigger. According to him, even. They get out of the car, walk over there, and they had these nets on side of these things. They had these nets to catch the casings, to catch the shell casings. So this is pretty well planned out. This is a planned attack. This is premeditated. They had the shell, they had the casings, the net to catch the casings. Drove all the way from where they drove from, stalked him, followed him, walked him down, and took him out.
pre-dawn darkness. No hesitation, no pausing. 3 men who knew exactly what they were there to do. They approached Foolio's Charger and then opened fire. Foolio was inside. He was struck multiple times and sustained fatal injuries. 3 other victims were also hit. 1 in the Charger with Foolio, 2 in the nearby Altima. The shooters ran back to the Impala. The vehicle sped away. The crews followed. Andrews and Chance leaving the scene together. Within minutes, Foolio was dead.
Okay, so my mistake. 2 of them in the car together and 2 in a separate car. And they shot the 2 in the car, Foolio, and whoever else was there, the passenger, I'm assuming. And then 2 other individuals in a separate car. They shot that car up too and hit both of them. But again, the only one lost his life, Foolio.
After the shooting, the 2 vehicles split up. The crews headed back toward Jacksonville. The Impala went east toward Polk County. On June 26th, the police located the crews in Norcross, Georgia. The driver, Sean Gathright, got out and ran. He was arrested on obstruction charges and later released on bond, but the car told the whole story. Inside, officers found a cell phone with maps running and a message referencing Charles Jones. Photos included a crime scene image, contact information for Isaiah Chance, pictures of an AR-style rifle, and Airbnb messages about the reservation. They also recovered firearms and spent casings matching 2 other shootings connected to the gang war. Detectives had what they needed, and they were coming for everyone involved.
But before we get to that, I want to tell you about Brevo, the sponsor of today's video. If you run a business, even a small one, Brevo is a marketing platform that handles your emails, text, and customer communication in one place. So if you have an online
Alicia Andrews at a residence.
Isaiah Chance, this is the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office. We are in your front driveway. We have a warrant for your arrest. Come to the front door with nothing in your hand.
Hands up and walk toward me. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Stop. Stop. Turn around. Keep your hands up. Turn around. Hands up. Keep your hands up. Hands up. Don't reach for your waist. Do not reach for your waist. Look at me. Back up to me. Back up. Back up. Back up. Back up. All right, go to your knees. Put your hands behind your back. Stay there. Stay there. Don't move.
Keep walking. Keep walking. Now turn around. Put your hands behind your back.
I don't know if this dude think this is a joke or what. Where he was down there sort of reaching for his waist and, nonchalantly walking back with his hands up like, yeah, whatever. No, not whatever. You better be careful. We all know what's going on. You better be careful making these sort of moves with the police. Luckily, he just ended up in handcuffs and didn't lose his life out there. You got to be careful, particularly since you are accused of such a brutal crime. They can certainly say that they were in danger, felt threatened, felt like you had a weapon. You were accused of having a weapon and using it against 4 different individuals.
Is there anybody else inside?
Sean Gathright, 18, was arrested at a shopping center.
Stop right there. Lift your shirt up. Turn. Do a 360. What? Just listen to us. We'll talk about it. Keep going. Keep going. Turn. Now walk back to the sound of my voice. Come on. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming. Keep coming.
Stop asking all these weird questions, man. You know exactly what's going on. Again, he ended up admitting to it and taking accountability after the fact, after he was found guilty, and he's trying to spare his life, which ended up happening, and not receive the death penalty, which ended up happening. He did not receive the death penalty. He ended up getting sentenced to a very long time in prison. Clearly, apparently, he's never getting out of prison, which is bad. He's 20 years old. But he's sitting there talking about what's going on, what happened, my car, and this, that, and the other. You know exactly what's going on. You pulled the trigger and took this young man out. Foolio was making these posts on Instagram, desecrating and disparaging the dead, not justifying anything. He should not have lost his life over it. Nevertheless, this is the sort of thing that happens. Again, we've seen it happening more and more. You just have to be careful.
Coming. Keep coming.
On July 30th, after a standoff, officers arrested Rashad Murphy. Davion Murphy remained at large for months, but investigators had what they needed, and the most damaging evidence was already in their hands. Detectives had Andrew's phone, and what they found on it would destroy the story she'd been telling from the start. She followed Julio Foolio on Instagram. He didn't follow her back. She had screenshots and videos saved from 2019 to 2024. Content related to the gang war, posts about the feud, years of documented interest in a man she claimed not to know. But there was one piece of evidence the prosecution had been holding back. A text message from 2021, one that Andrews thought was gone forever. Prosecutors had found it on her phone, and from the moment they did, they knew it would change everything. They waited to use it, planted it in the trial at exactly the right moment. When they finally revealed it in court, Foolio needed to die. The words landed like a verdict before the verdict. Andrews was 17 when she wrote it. 3 years later, she was in the car that tracked him to his death. At trial, she claimed she was just gossiping. She didn't mean it, but prosecutors argued it showed exactly what she knew and exactly how she felt about the man her boyfriend's crew had just killed.
That's not good. The text message said he needs to die. And then he came up dead. But the woman said that she don't even know him. Alicia Andrews said that she doesn't even know Julio Foolio. Then, of course, we see they go inside of her phone, find deleted messages or messages that she thought were deleted. That's why she's there in court laughing. They find videos and posts. She's almost obsessed with the man, talking about she doesn't know.
On July 6, 2024, just days after the arrests, Andrews sent Instagram messages about getting phones back, writing "make sure no police sitting around," and referencing a detective and a pending charge. She also admitted to deleting text conversations with Chance after Jones was shot. She made three-way calls through Chance's mother to speak with him from jail, sent intimate messages. Meanwhile, the digital trail from her co-defendants painted its own picture. Isaiah Chance posted a photo of Bill Belichick with hands-up emojis less than 2 hours after the murder at 6:13 a.m. This was funny to him. Rashad Murphy posted laughing crying emojis 20 minutes after Foolio was killed. 4 hours after that, he searched Foolio's Instagram account. Every piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. This was planned, this was coordinated, and Alicia Andrews was part of it. When Andrews sat down with Detective Juan Ramos after her arrest, she made a critical mistake. She denied knowing who Julio Foolio was when shown his photograph, but Ramos already had her phone. According to Ramos's testimony, Andrews seemed annoyed rather than scared. She never cried, never showed fear.
You're 21, right? Yeah. Okay. You think I'm older or younger than 21? Come on, you know, right? I'm old, okay? I've been doing this job and doing homicide as long as you've been alive, okay? Started doing homicide about 24 years ago. It means I've worked a lot of them. This means I've been in this chair, talking to a young person sitting in your chair, hundreds of times. What you don't understand is this is the perfect case for a homicide detective. I have your phone. I have your phone everywhere. I have the beef between your boyfriend, his people, and listen, you don't have to play dumb with me at all.
This is high definition footage, okay?
You're there.
You're there.
You're part of the murder for Julio Foolio, whether you want to be or not.
She denied knowing Foolio. She claimed she didn't have the code to the Airbnb. She said she stayed back while the others went out. Some of those details checked out. Surveillance confirmed she wasn't present during the weapons packing at Gathwright's house. Key entry logs showed someone else entered the Airbnb first. On cross-examination, Ramos admitted Andrews had been telling the truth about those specific details, but McDonald's drive-thru surveillance caught her in the car with co-defendant Davian Murphy, smoking. Wearing a COVID mask she later claimed was to protect her pregnancy and block smoke from clubs. The phone, however, didn't lie, and the lies she did tell were the ones that mattered most.
Always the freaking McDonald's and Mickey D's. McDonald's got her caught up going there to get them deadly Big Macs, and then got caught on camera with the individual inside of the car smoking. But now, bear in mind that she's claiming that she does not even know Julio Foolio. But the whole time she's claiming this, they, of course, have her phone. And on her phone is evidence that not only does she know this individual, or maybe does not know him, he doesn't know her, but she is apparently obsessed with him to some point. She's maintaining and retaining and holding on to videos of Foolio pictures, and she followed him, and he did not follow her back. But she doesn't know him. She didn't know that they had all of this. What's so funny?
On October 31st, 2025, Alicia Andrews took the stand. Day 8 of the trial. Her defense attorney asked her directly, "Did you know that Charles Jones was going to die on June 23rd of 2024? No, I did not," Andrews answered. The defense strategy was clear: paint Isaiah Chance as an abusive, controlling boyfriend, show that Andrews was trapped, terrified, a victim herself.
In the beginning, it was good, I would say. And then he changed over time, once we got comfortable with each other.
What did he change? What had changed about him?
He started to be a little more controlling. Like as I got older and I would want to go out, he didn't like that.
In what way?
Okay, no, I want to hear this. Did he make you do it? Did he put a gun in your head? Here you go. Here we go, playing the victim now. Now I want to put it all off on Isaiah Chance, her boyfriend, and say that he was controlling. Looked to me like you were complicit while he was making that phone call with your phone, and you were standing right there. Doesn't look like you were a hostage, like you had been kidnapped, like you were there against your will. Looks like you were a willing, participating partner in this whole diabolical plot. Now that you've been caught, you're sitting there on the stand, facing a lifetime in hellish prison. You want to blame your controlling boyfriend.
Was he controlling?
Like he would tell me what to post, what not to post, or if he didn't want me to take something down, or don't wear this, don't wear that, like little stuff like that.
And when he was having these controlling ways, would you listen to him?
Yes.
Why?
I didn't know no better at the time.
Other than just having controlling ways, did Isaiah Chance ever put his hands on you?
Yes.
How many times?
I wouldn't say I was counting, but it's been a few times.
They presented photos of bruises on Andrews' face, text messages showing Chance getting upset when she posted images of herself. Andrews testified that she didn't want disagreements with him because they led to him hitting her or breaking her phone. She claimed that on June 22nd, Chance said he was going out of town. She asked if she could come. He told her to pack. She said she didn't know they were going to Tampa, didn't know about the murder plot, didn't know Chance would use her phone to coordinate with the shooters. She also revealed something the prosecution hadn't highlighted. She said a corrections officer warned her that Chance had tried to arrange an attack on her inside the jail, that she was sending him intimate messages to keep him happy, to keep him from having her hurt. The defense argued there was no direct evidence of Andrews knowing about the plot in advance. She wasn't present during weapons packing. She didn't communicate with the group about the shooting in the weeks before. She wasn't with them when they tracked Foolio before arriving in Tampa, but the prosecution's closing told a different story. Assistant State Attorney Michelle Doherty laid out the pattern for the jury. Andrews and Chance had tracked Foolio to both nightclubs and his hotel. She was used as cover, someone who could move around without being recognized as part of the gang. Her phone connected every piece of the operation. She had followed Foolio on Instagram for years. She had a 2021 text saying he needed to die.
Wow.
She deleted her messages after the murder. She lied to police about knowing who he was. Doherty asked the jury one simple question: if this was a reconciliation trip with her...
Not good for her. I would say that that's a lot of evidence, circumstantial evidence, nonetheless, but a lot of evidence, because some of this is caught on videotape. And then they have the phone records with a displaying a pattern, a habit of her following Foolio, trying to contact him, saving content related to Foolio, all the while saying that she does not even know who he is. When shown a picture of him, even though he's a famous enough rapper from her area, she doesn't even know who he is when they show her the picture of him. But then we find out, of course, that this is not the case. And they have her own video walking around with the individual, and they did the timeline and seen that who he was calling it at the time, that he was sitting right there walking around the parking lot with her. And he was calling Sean Gathright, the eventual shooter. And it's not looking good for her, but somehow she seems to have got away with a lot of this stuff.
Boyfriend, why were they following a rapper from club to club at 3 a.m? Why was Chance constantly stepping away to make calls on her phone to men she supposedly didn't know? Andrews claimed ignorance. The surveillance footage showed coordination. Andrews claimed fear. The phone records showed willing participation. The evidence and the explanations couldn't be more different. On October 31st, 2025, the jury deliberated for over 2 hours. They'd heard 8 days of testimony, seen surveillance footage, reviewed phone records, listened to Andrews' story. Late Friday night, they returned, not with the first-degree murder conviction prosecutors sought, but a conviction nonetheless. Andrews showed little reaction. She sat quietly as the verdict was read.
We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1, the defendant is guilty of manslaughter, a lesser included offense. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2, the defendant is not guilty. So say we all, dated this 31st day of October 2025, signed foreperson of the jury.
The jury believed she was involved. They believed she helped, but they didn't believe she knew Foolio would be murdered that night. The manslaughter conviction meant the jury thought Andrews' actions contributed to the death, but without the premeditation required for murder. She'd face up to 15 years in prison. Sentencing was scheduled for December 8th, 2025. But when December 8th arrived, Andrews wasn't sentenced. On December 4th, her attorneys filed a writ of prohibition, seeking to disqualify the judge from further participation in her case, requesting a stay of sentencing. The hearing was delayed. As of February 2026, Andrews remains in custody awaiting sentencing. Her 4 co-defendants face trial in April 2026. Isaiah Chance, Sean Gathright, Davian.
Yeah, well, her 4 co-defendants, apparently 2 of them are brothers, the Murphys. They faced trial in April last month, and as I've already said, as many of you know, they have already been found guilty as of a few days ago. A week or so ago, they were found guilty on May 8th. They were found guilty. And so, as we can see, she had already been found guilty. Apparently, she went to trial separately and was found guilty all the way back in December. And they were all just found guilty in April last month. She had been found guilty months ago and of a lesser charge, as we just heard. This is what everyone is up in arms about. She ends up with a manslaughter charge where apparently the maximum time she is facing is 15 years. None of these individuals are ever coming home again. But the jury did not believe that they proved premeditation. It was a bit confusing because they said they do believe that she was involved, but that it was not premeditated. They said that they didn't believe that she knew that he was going to die that night because she wasn't there when they packed the weapons up, this, that, and the other. But if she was making the calls or giving individuals the phone to call to come and gun them down, and I don't know, but apparently that's not what they believe, the jury. The jury has spoken. They convicted her of manslaughter, of the lesser charge, not premeditated murder, not first-degree murder. Let me know, what do you all think in the comments? Was that a right conviction? Do you all think that she knew that Foolio was going to be shot that night? Or did she was just there, just went with them, and she did not know? She gave them the phone call and said that she didn't even hear the phone conversation, or she gave him the phone, her boyfriend didn't hear the phone conversation. So I don't know. The jury says that she didn't do it, that she didn't know ahead of time that that was about to be his fate. What say you? Stay safe and stay free, people.